question is, did such a thing ever exist? Do we have any indications of child sacrifice? Do we have indications of human sacrifice? And what would exactly human sacrifice mean? In other words, how would it fit in conceptually to the world of ancient Israelites' thought? Well, what evidence do we have in the Bible for human sacrifice in general? And then we'll get to the kids. In Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 31, you don't have to look it up. We have this. They constructed the bamot of the Toet. They constructed the high places of this place called the Toet, which is in the valley of the sons of Hinnom, for burning their sons and daughters. Now, I want to get this, okay, what do these words mean? Toet is a word that we know in Hebrew. We also have it in Phoenician. And those of you who visited certain places up in Lebanon, which I have visited, or Carthage, they'll point out that this is a Toet. Our understanding of a Toet is sort of a charnel house where humans were burnt. And that's what Jeremiah seems to be saying. They constructed the bamot, the high places, the place of worship, but it's undefined, and we still are not, we're not sure what this a bama is or a high place is. Even though those of you who've been to Israel, guys will always be pointing to you, this is the high place, and this is the high place, and this is the high place. They don't know what they're talking about. But we know where the valley of the sons of Hinnom is. Those of you who've been to Israel and you've gone up to the Jaffa Gate, you see the valley over there, and now where they have these they have a great stage over there. They put on performances there, sort of like a Hollywood Bowl or an outside amphitheater. That is most likely the place of the Toet. And it says they burned their sons and daughters in fire. What it doesn't say is they sacrificed. They don't use the word korban. They use a word that means they burned their sons and daughters in fire. In Jeremiah chapter 19, verses 4 through 6, says the following: because they built the bamot, the high places of Baal, to burn their sons in fire, whole offerings for the Baal, in other words, this olah type of thing to a different deity, to Baal. But I'm not interested right now in Baal. They're building, again, they're burning their children and they're making whole offerings for Baal. Split them. There are two different things that are going on over here. What burning of a child, there's also references in King Manasseh, who caused his children to pass through fire. Now this was always taken, has always been understood as referring to sacrifice. But why? We have perfectly good vocabulary for sacrifice. And why is it always children? Okay, why always children? Most likely what's going on is this. First of all, you wet your finger and you pass it through a candle flame? Or if you've been camping, jumping through fire, walking through fire, or if you're really into it, walking on coals. When this was done as a magical act, what you're involved with is, it's called fibrillation. In other words, you're passing something quickly through fire, and what most likely they were doing, and because elsewhere they speak of causing your children to pass through fire to Molech, a pagan deity, is you're holding the baby, and you're passing the child through fire, you're burning the child, so to speak, and what that is doing is magically protecting the child. Okay? In other words, what we read in terms of, what we interpreted in terms of sacrifice, burning babies, so to speak, was actually a ritual in which you protected your child. Now, the ritual involved had nothing to do with Yahweh, the God of Israel, but is associated with other deities. The god Baal that we know from Canaanite mythology, and a deity called Molech, which is known, is apparently known from Phoenician religion, and then later on from Carthaginian religion.